Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us tonight. You have joined North Kansas City's Hospital Stress Management for Caregivers. Tonight, we have Stephanie Ramirez talking with us. She works in the outpatient rehabilitation for North Kansas City Hospital. And I know that she also volunteers for the Alzheimer's Association. Um, so I will go ahead and hand it over to Stephanie. If you have any questions, you can enter them into the Q&A or the chat as we go. We will be waiting until the end to answer those. You can also feel free at any time to raise your hand and I can chat with you individually. This is also being recorded and we will have this on YouTube later. Stephanie?
Great, thanks. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So this topic is definitely near and dear to my heart. I work, as Shanna said, as an outpatient speech pathologist for North Kansas City Hospital. So I work really closely with caregivers and their loved ones as they navigate through various health conditions. And I also have had several people in my family pass away from Alzheimer's disease. So I've seen firsthand the toll that caregiving can take on family. So we're going to talk today about stress management for caregivers, but also these are just tips that are great for people in general. So the plan for today is talking about kind of the toll that caregiving takes, caring for someone that has Alzheimer's and dementia or any other kind of degenerative disease, caregiver stress, what the stress does to our brains, chronic stress, and then at the end, I have a lot of, I hope, useful tools for you for stress management and different resources that will help you kind of navigate the disease process. So as Shanna said, you can type in any questions that you have, and I'm definitely going to leave time at the end to discuss. So when we're looking at the population of caregivers, it's very interesting. So about 30% of caregivers are age 65 or older themselves. Approximately 66% of caregivers are women. And most caregivers, again, about 66%, live with the person that they're caring for. 25% of dementia caregivers are what we call the sandwich generation. So they're caring for maybe an aging parent or a grandparent, and they're also caring for children under the age of 18. So you can imagine that those responsibilities can really pile up as you are, worrying about multiple people. So caregiving can also obviously be very rewarding. There's a lot of, I think, obligation felt, especially by children, to care for their parents, just like they cared for us as we were growing up. But it can also be challenging. I think some of the common challenges are that, you are basically on call 24/7. There's financial concerns, especially since a lot of caregivers are no longer able to work full-time themselves because of the responsibilities that they have. There are safety concerns. So especially with Alzheimer's and dementia, kind of as the disease progresses, feeling out, what is safe and what's not safe. So thinking about cooking and driving and managing medications, sometimes that's hard to take those responsibilities away from the individual, but you also are worried about their safety as well. A lot of caregivers have feelings of isolation, and I think especially over these last 18 months, we've all had these feelings of isolation with the pandemic. And so those can definitely be amplified during these times. So just take a moment and think about what might be impacting you most right now as far as your caregiving journey. And then think about some of the signs that you might be noticing if you are experiencing some increasing stress. So you might have disturbed sleep, you might have fatigue, body aches or pain. You might be more anxious or irritable, and you might notice some increased tension, and then headaches can also be a sign of stress. So you don't have to have all of these things, but certainly if you have more than one, it would definitely be something that you'd want to address. So why do we have all of these manifestations with stress? So basically, stress hormones, epinephrine and norepinephrine, tongue twister, have some different results on the body. So basically, you think about your body being kind of in this fight or flight response constantly. And that results in increased blood pressure, speeding up of your heart rate, and blood sugar levels actually raising. And if these hormones are chronically present in the body, you can experience digestive problems, fertility problems, urinary problems, and a weakened immune system. So I always tell my patients and their loved ones, our bodies are not little compartments. We cannot turn off certain things. If we are stressed, it is going to affect our whole person. If we have an infection, it's going to affect our whole person. So it's very important not to ignore those things, because obviously over time they can cause some real damage. So in the brain, the part of our brain that helps us process kind of those threatening situations, the amygdala, can actually appear larger in people who are chronically stressed. So again, it's that fight or flight response. And when that is activated, the areas of the brain that are involved in rational thought and planning, kind of those higher level thinking tasks, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex can appear smaller. So basically, it is putting all of those like optional types of cognitive activities on the back burner and just focusing on that basic survival instinct. So what does that do to our brains? So that can result in things like poor memory, difficulty concentrating, fatigue, difficulty learning new information, difficulty making decisions, poor judgment, and depression or anxiety. So definitely has quite the impact. So what can we do about that? So we're going to talk about some ideas for managing stress. It sounds like it's pretty much easier said than done, but hopefully you can go away from this talk today with some new ideas that you can implement into your life. So we're going to talk about some different resources specifically for those who are caregiving for loved ones with Alzheimer's and dementia. We're going to talk about rest breaks, healthy sleep, exercise, diet, self-care, some of those symptoms like depression, anxiety, ways that you can plan ahead and educate yourself. And then we're going to end today practicing some of those relaxation techniques together. So I wanted to give you some resources, and feel free, you can write these down or, grab your phone, take a picture with your camera so you can keep these for future reference. But if you want to go to communityresourcefinder.org, they have lots of good resources, adult day programs, in-home assistance, visiting nurses, transportation, and much more. So sometimes it's just knowing where to look to find those resources that are going to help decrease your level of stress. You can check out Meals on Wheels, America.org. That will help you with some meal delivery, especially if you're getting to the point where your loved one is not safe to be cooking, or maybe they just aren't able to get around the kitchen like they used to. The local Alzheimer's Association chapter, so alz.org is the general Alzheimer's Association. And if you do that /Kansas City, you can find our local chapter here, which Shanna mentioned. I do volunteer with them, and I know that they have so many amazing resources, support groups, educational opportunities, the walk to End Alzheimer's will be coming up in October, so that's right around the corner. So I would highly recommend checking it out. I just got an email from the community educator person, and they are going to start offering in-person education again. So that was something that had been paused last year. Everything was virtual, but now I know, especially for those people that do prefer to be in person, that's going to be something that you can look for hopefully soon. The other thing, and I would definitely, make note of this, write it down, the 24/7 helpline through the Alzheimer's Association is an amazing resource. So you have access to professionals 24 hours a day in many, many languages who can answer questions, offer support, give you resources. So day or night, that is available, and I would highly encourage you to just save that on your phone so you have it when you need it. There is also a website called Alzheimersnavigator.org that can be a really good resource. So I would just say write them down, and then when you have a moment, kind of poke around and see what they have. You might find some awesome opportunities that you didn't know were out there. When you go to the resource finder, I just took a screenshot of this. This is on the Alzheimer's Association website. You see here, they've got different programs and events. They have information about caring at home, community services, housing options, and medical services. So these are all, directly through the website. And if you click on those, you can get you can get even more information. This is also a screenshot from the Alzheimer's Association website, and this is the Alzheimer's Navigator. So when I talk about kind of planning ahead, this is an amazing resource. So, the main thing to know is that, a lot of stress, and I know in my family's circumstances, this was definitely the case. It's not pleasant to have some of those hard conversations about, legal things, driving, different care options, but it's an important conversation to have. And if you can lay those things out early on in the disease process, what the person's wishes are, it can help take the burden off of families and make things just so much easier transitioning to different living situations. So maybe the person needs 24-hour care, and so they, it's time for them to go into maybe a skilled nursing facility. I think it's just something that if you can plan ahead and have, those conversations early on when the person is able to make their wants and needs known, again, it can really help with decreasing the level of stress later on for the caregiver as well. So when you go into that planning ahead, you will see, again, this is a screenshot, but I've got the alz.org and the 24/7 helpline there again. So here's another opportunity for you to write that down. But it's got all kinds of information about some of those stressors like we talked about. So finances, they've got ideas for planning for care costs, paying for care, insurance, navigating Social Security and disability, Medicare, Medicaid, taxes, legal things. So it is very nice to have this. And then, once you look at it, if you have any questions, you can always call the number and get those questions answered. But I would highly recommend looking at all of this and kind of diving in, because there might be things that you didn't even know that you didn't know beforehand. So, another important thing to think about as a caregiver is taking time for yourself. So I always tell people it's really important to kind of have a community, try to get as many family members or friends involved as possible. Sometimes it takes a village. So dividing responsibilities, kind of having a weekly check-in with someone. I know when my grandparents were going through Alzheimer's disease, my dad's youngest sister was the primary caregiver because she lived in the same area. We all are 2+ hours away, but she was right there. And so she and the other siblings had weekly check-in phone calls so she could keep everyone up to date on how things were going, what her concerns were. And then they could delegate. So if there were some things that like my dad could help with from a distance, like, setting up some of the financing, care, then he could help with that. And that was one less thing that my aunt had to do. There are options for respite care. You might think about even reaching out if you're a member of a church or the senior center. A lot of people will volunteer there just to spend time so you can get away for, an hour or two. And like I said, the Alzheimer's Association has support groups, so it'll allow you to connect with people who really understand what you're going through and are either going through the same thing right now or have been in that same position before, so they might be able to offer you some good advice. Ultimately, I think it's important that we all, take a step back and realize that it's okay to say, I need help, or, when someone offers, actually take them up on it, because I think so often we're just like, oh, no, I can do it. But really, if someone offers to cook them a meal or, come sit with them for a couple hours, take them up on it, because you need that time for yourself as well. And that's a good transition for us to get into some self-care. So a lot of times this kind of gets neglected for people who are caregiving. We're so busy worrying about other people, we don't really worry about ourselves as much. But the thing to remember is if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be good for anyone. So you have to take care of yourself first, and then you can focus on your loved ones. It's like when you're on the airplane and the masks come down from the top, you have to put your mask on first before assisting other people. So it kind of goes without being said, but you need to eat well. Thinking about getting good nutrition, fresh fruit, vegetables, lean protein, healthy fats, reducing sugar and caffeine, all of that can help not only with your physical, well-being, but also your mental well-being as well. Don't skip on sleep. So hopefully we're getting about 8 hours per night. Now that might be something that gets, interrupted. Maybe, somebody has to get up and go to the bathroom, needs assistance with certain things. But really, that should be your goal. So if you can't get 8 hours in a row, maybe you carve out some time to have a short little nap during the day. But we all have a sleep debt that has to be paid. And if it's not, then we're not going to function at our best. So finding time to get the rest you need. Physical exercise is actually a really, really useful. Brain health is really closely connected to heart health. And so we should aim for about a minimum of 30 minutes most days. You can break it up into 3 10-minute sessions if that's easier. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to run a marathon. It can be, walking around while you're talking on the phone. It can be taking the stairs instead of the elevator. It can be parking a little bit farther away. But, finding ways to get the heart pumping and get exercise. It will also help you with sleep if you're feeling kind of like it's difficult to fall asleep at night. Doing physical activity during the day helps you sleep better at night as well. And again, I think it goes without being said, but you really have to take time for your own doctor's appointments. Make sure you're staying up on all of your health screenings so that, again, you can be the best that you can be to take care of your loved one. So we've kind of talked about the self-care, the physical types of help, but I think mental health is also very important. So counseling is never a bad idea. I think that especially in this day and age, there are a lot of options to talk to licensed counselors. So you can do it online, you can do it in person. There's apps. So I've listed a few of them that I've heard, I've had a lot of my patients use. So there is Talkspace. There is a Headspace app. There is the app called 10% Happier, and they actually have a website and a podcast as well. There is Insight Timer app. And then if you are looking for somebody in person, the Psychology Today website can give you a list of current psychologists who are out there, who's accepting new patients, what insurance they accept. And so it can give you kind of some help finding somebody in the area. But I think that a lot of times, it can be amazing to get some, personalized tools and support. If you feel that just going to the general support group is not enough for you. And again, I think taking time out and doing what you need to do to help take care of yourself mentally and physically is very important. So here's some more apps. I actually use the Calm app myself. It's really neat. It has meditations. It has different breathing exercises. It has nighttime stories, music. There is, I believe, a 2-week free period where you can try it out. And then there is an annual subscription. But you could definitely try these out and see if it's something that you like. And if so, then you can have it. So if you're having a tough moment, you can pull the Calm app or whatever app you choose out and do maybe some breathing or some different exercises that are going to help, just bring your stress level down. Along that line, there are alternative treatments. So yoga, Tai Chi has been researched extensively, and specifically within the caregiver population, meditation, mindfulness are all things that have been shown to help with stress levels. And I think a lot of people just feel like, oh, well, that's just not something that I can do. My mind, I can't turn my mind off, or I don't know how to meditate, or it's not really my thing. But these are literally things that anyone can do. And I would encourage you to kind of think of it as a practice. So we're not perfect. We have to work at it. And so we're practicing yoga, we're practicing meditation, we're practicing mindfulness. It's not something that you're going to get right away, but it's something that you can work towards and work on. So I want to dive into the mindfulness aspect a little bit deeper. So mindfulness involves kind of thinking on purpose in the present moment without judgment. So I think as a caregiver, this is so important because it can help give you insight on how you react to different situations. And I think we've all heard that, you can't control what other people do, but you can control your reaction to it. And so if you can start being more mindful about your own responses and your own tendencies, then I think you can just help kind of prepare yourself for maybe those more difficult situations. So this picture kind of illustrates what mindfulness is. So you can see the person on the left has their mind full. So they're thinking about all kinds of things, maybe appointments, to-do lists, chores, things, going on in the world, politics, who knows what's occupying our minds. And then the little girl on the right, she is mindful. So she's taking in what is right in front of her, which are the flowers, the sunshine, and just enjoying the moment. I think that is one thing. We're so worried about what's going to happen or what happened yesterday, what we should have done, could have done, that we forget to live in the present moment. And especially with Alzheimer's and dementia, that present moment is so important. Just being there, appreciating what is there right now, and just taking it all in. So without judgment. So I think that's kind of the hard part for me. A lot of times I'll notice kind of how I'm feeling, and then I'll be like, oh, I shouldn't feel that way. But it's not really about, how you should feel. It's just how do you feel? And I think there's no right or wrong. I think we all kind of approach situations differently. So, just acknowledging that and then moving on and staying in the present. So we're going to practice a few things. So hang with me here. We're going to start with some breathing. So deep breathing can be really helpful if you're having, a difficult situation, stepping away. A lot of times I call this rescue breathing. So if you do feel like your heart is starting to race, maybe you're at the doctor's office and you just got some bad news, or maybe your loved one is having a really difficult day or being aggressive with you, or something, is just really bothering you. You can do breathing. And the great thing is you can do it anywhere at any time. So thinking about breathing deep into the belly, we're going to try what I call box breathing. So if you kind of imagine a box in your mind, we're going to sit up tall and we're going to just do one breath for free. Slowly inhale and exhale all the way. And think about feeling your diaphragm expand, your belly expand as you fill your lungs with air. And now what we're going to do is we're going to inhale for a count of 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold at the top, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold at the bottom, 2, 3, 4. Let's try it again. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. So you really want to think about breathing deep into your lungs. This will lower your heart rate. It'll increase the oxygen in your brain. I think that if you're not used to deep breathing, that this can sometimes be difficult, more difficult than we would like to admit. I will say if you start to feel dizzy or lightheaded, just breathe normally and then go back to trying it again. You can also do the 3-4-5 method. So breathing in for 3, hold it for 4, out for 5. So let's try that a couple times and then we'll move on. So one breath for free, in and out. And we're going to breathe in, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, in, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you want to do the box breathing or the 3-4-5 rescue breathing, it really doesn't matter what you do. As long as you're doing deep breathing. I think the research shows that 3 to 5 minutes of deep breathing every day is great. So you could just try to incorporate this in before you even get out of bed in the morning or the last thing you do at night. Like I said, it increases your oxygen level. It helps with your heart rate. And also, it just gives your mind something to focus on. So instead of focusing on what's stressing you or worrying you, you can focus on the breath. And, like we said, this is a practice. So it will happen where your mind wanders away from the breath or the meditation or whatever you're doing. But just acknowledging that is mindfulness. Wow, my mind is moving in another direction. Let's pull it back in. And no judgment. It's all good, and we'll give it another try. So you can be mindful and you can, get the benefits of that deep diaphragmatic breathing. Another one that you might try, and again, this is one that might be great right before you go to sleep at night, especially if you feel like you're kind of laying awake worrying, is progressive muscle relaxation. So what we're basically going to do is we're going to tense, tighten, and then relax each muscle group in the body. So we'll do this together, and we'll do kind of an abbreviated version, but I would encourage you to really take your time with all of these at home and just really be in the moment, feel kind of what your body is feeling, and, soak in the benefits of what you're doing for yourself. So you can, again, just kind of sit back, relax your entire body. Think about taking deep, slow breaths as we go. Sometimes a tendency is to hold the breath. So what I want you to do is lift your toes upward. Feel that tightness, that tension, and then let them go. Pull your toes down into the ground. Really push. Feel what that feels like, and then let it go. Next, tense your calf muscles. Really tighten those, and then let it go. Move your knees in toward each other. Pull, push them together, hold, and then let them go. Squeeze your thigh muscles. Really tighten those. Feel the tension, and then let it go. Clench your hands. Kind of make a fist, feel what that feels like, and then let it go. Tense your arms, hold that, and then let it go. Squeeze your bottom, feel what that feels like, pause, then let it go. Contract your abdominal muscles, pull in that belly, squeeze, and then let it go. Take a big inhale now, expand your chest, hold it, and then exhale and let it go. Raise your shoulders to your ears. Feel that tension in your shoulders, your neck, and then let it go. Purse your lips together, and then let it go. Opening your mouth wide, feeling that jaw kind of relax. We hold a lot of tension in our jaw, and then let it go. Close your eyes tightly, and then let them go. Lift your eyebrows up, hold, and then release. So when you're done, you should feel your whole body in this new relaxed state. If you feel like you don't have time to do the whole sequence, you can just pick a couple and go from there. I think, a little can go a long way, but just feeling the difference between when you're tense and when you're relaxed, it can help really, decrease your stress level. And I have a lot of patients who tell me that actually they wind up falling asleep before they even get to the end. So mission accomplished there. The next thing we're going to try is what's called the loving kindness meditation. And this actually was something that a lot of research went into, specifically within the caregiver population. So this meditation enhances the activation of brain areas that are involved in emotional processing and empathy to boost a sense of positivity and reduce negativity. So this is something, again, if you're not used to this, it might feel a little uncomfortable at first, but I would really encourage you, again, think of it as a practice. And so give it a try it again. They say that it takes a month to build a new habit, so stick with it. And you might really find that this brings you a lot of peace and helps with that, positivity and empathy. So you're going to sit, or you can be laying down, again, in a comfortable area. Remember to keep breathing, nice deep breaths. And you can either do this out loud or in your head. You're going to repeat 4 phrases. So, may I be happy? May I be safe? May I be healthy? May I live with ease? And you're going to repeat that out loud or to yourself at least 3 times. May I be happy? May I be safe? May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. And you will then work on extending those feelings and well wishes to others. So you can move on from yourself to a loved one, someone that you care deeply for. So in my case, I'm going to think about my kids. So may they be happy, may they be safe, may they be healthy, may they live with ease. May they be happy, may they be safe, may they be healthy, may they live with ease. And then you can move those feelings towards someone who's ill. So maybe someone in your life who is not doing well. This last week, one of my mom's aunts went on hospice. So I will be thinking of her. May she be happy. May she be safe. May she be healthy without pain. May she live with ease. May she be happy. May she be safe. May she be healthy. May she live with ease. And then you can move on to a neutral party. So maybe it's just somebody you see walking down the street or somebody in the grocery store. So, kind of put yourself in those shoes and say, may they be happy, may they be safe, may they be healthy, may they live with ease. And then finally, you can extend that to everyone. So may we all be happy, may we all be safe, may we all be healthy, may we all live with ease. And I think that, again, a little bit can go a long way. Just spending a little time extending those feelings to yourself and others can really, have some great benefits. There's also a lot of books out there on this particular kind of meditation. So if you're interested in that, I would encourage you to check some of those out. Another type of meditation is guided imagery. So again, this might be a little bit awkward at first, but what I want you to do is think about, again, sitting quietly in a comfortable area and closing your eyes, taking several deep breaths in and out. Again, you'll see that breathing is a pretty common thread between all of these techniques for stress management. And what I want you to do as you're sitting there is imagine a peaceful scene, like a lush forest, a mountain range, a tropical beach. Think about a place in nature that really makes you feel relaxed. It can even be your own home. So think about that happy place. And what I want you to do is really bring up the details of that. So what do you smell? What do you hear? What do you feel? So maybe as you're walking along the beach, you might smell the ocean. You might feel the mist on your face. You might hear the waves crashing and the seagulls, squawking in the background. But I want you to be in that place as vividly as you can. And envision a path and picture yourself walking along that path. And basically what you can do is walk along that path, relaxing in your scene for several minutes, continuing to deep breathing, and then you can open your eyes and come back to the present. Sometimes, we all need a vacation, but that's not always possible. So learning to take that mental vacation can be really helpful to relieve stress and calm yourself down in a situation. Maybe you wake up in the middle of the night and you're worrying about something. So instead of dwelling on that, maybe you try this and see if that allows you to then relax and go back to sleep. So this would be something that you could try. If you're really interested and wanting to do something for yourself that's got a little bit more structure, there is an online program, and it is palausmindfulness.com. I've got a link there, and a little screenshot. It is basically a free 8-week, it's not basically, it is a free 8-week course on mindfulness-based stress reduction. I was actually in a PhD study last year for one of my friends, and she was studying compassion fatigue and caregiver burnout in the healthcare population. And so we went through this 8-week course, and I will say I thought that it was great. Some of it was something that maybe I was not really comfortable with at first, but I think as the weeks progressed, I really found that my stress level was a lot better. So each week has different YouTube videos, which I thought that was my favorite part. Some informative kind of TED Talk type YouTube videos, different meditation YouTube videos, and then there's readings. And then if you really want to, go for the gold, there's practice logs where you can write down your responses to the, topic of the week. So I would really encourage you to look at that if you're wanting something, again, a little bit more structured, but taking the time for yourself, doing something like this can be really helpful for reducing your stress. And I've actually encouraged a lot of my patients to do this as well. So I think that, just in general, some final thoughts. Caregiving is not easy, but I think that, the first thing that we have to do is practice acceptance, accepting, where we are, accepting, where our loved one is in the moment. Looking for the silver linings. I think that, everyone's had a hard, 18 months. And if we can, find those silver linings, like, being able to spend more time together, enjoying those things that, maybe if the world wasn't closed, we would have taken for granted. And I think that it's important to focus on the things that you can control. So there's a lot of things in life, and in Alzheimer's disease specifically, that you don't know what the future is going to bring. And there are things that you can't control. But again, you can control, your proactive nature, getting things planned. You can control your response to different situations. And so thinking about those things can be very helpful. And then finally, I think celebrating small victories. So, not every day is going to be great, but some days, you just have to really celebrate those moments that are, are special, and recognizing those, and, saying, that this was a hard day, but I got through it, and, you will get through it. So I think everyone, who is working as a caregiver, who has a caregiver, I think it's all important to be kind to ourselves and give ourselves credit where credit is due. So before we finish, I want you to think about one thing that you can do this week to decrease your stress. So you might think about checking out some of those websites with those resources where you can plan. You might think about doing, maybe you're going to start some yoga. Maybe you're going to try some meditation, some mindfulness, or maybe you want to do that online program. Or maybe download an app on your phone, whatever you feel like will help you the most. And like I said, it takes about a month for a habit to stick. So you want to give yourself time and make sure that you keep at it, even if it's not perfect right away. So with that, I wanted to give you my contact information. So if you do have questions, you can reach me specifically. You can also call, that is the general rehab office's number. But I wanted to leave some time. So we've got about 15 minutes. If anyone has any questions, we can discuss those now.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. So remember, you guys can put those in the Q&A and you can put them in the chat. I wanted to throw in that this will again be on YouTube. So if you find that you're in a situation where one of the things that Stephanie listed worked for you and it's not working any longer, you can go back and you can look at it and you can try a different tool. So also, if you write down some of the tools that Stephanie gave you so that you can say, okay, I tried this for a while, it's not quite my thing, then you'll have something else to go down to figure out and try that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we have any questions? I think you covered a lot of good information.
Thanks. I think this is a topic that pretty much everyone I work with has struggled with at some point. So
Yes.
It's good to cover it, and it's good to know what resources are out there.
Agreed. And I think as caregivers, there are only so many balls we can keep juggling in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And typically the ball that we let fall to the ground is the one that's us.
Mm-hmm.
So self-care is definitely a big thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Stephanie, I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay.
So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you, Stephanie, again for your sharing your amazing knowledge with us.
Absolutely.
And if you guys do have any questions, Stephanie does have her email address on there. You can also feel free to reach out to me. I will be sending you the link as soon as this is up on YouTube. So good night, everyone.
Thank you.